Believe in Bigfoot? Dogman? Any cryptid? Are you skeptical?
Curious about the supernatural, conspiracy theories, the unknown? Then come join us as we explore facts, tall tales, and encounters on Creatures and Curiosities.
Hello and welcome to Creatures and Curiosities. I'm David.
And I'm Jake.
And welcome to March 13th, Friday the 13th.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. The perfect day to talk about wicked, demonic,
Evil things, yeah.
evil things. I think this week's episode, we're again talking about another evil thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah. It's straightforward, and yet it's not.
Yeah. Right. We were just talking about it.
We had a long discussion before going on air here, and it's too much.
Yeah, it is.
You know, you get into the spiritual realm of things. You get into the non-spiritual realm of things. Do monsters exist? Do they not? Can ghosts hurt you? Can they touch you? Are there ghosts? Are they evil entities? Are there aliens? Man, you go down a rabbit hole and you can talk about it all day long and still walk away with zero knowledge.
Right.
And so we try and enlighten people to the fact that these things actually are out there and do exist, but yet we ourselves have no explanation as to what it actually is.
You can make up your own mind and
speculate
pick it,
all day long.
but both sides have a valid argument, I think.
Yeah. And so when we get into this particular story, there are a lot of opinions of what this is. And my opinion differs from most because, you know, the extraterrestrial thing.
Yes.
And I'm not 100% into the extraterrestrial stuff.
Which we were just going back and forth on again.
Back and forth on. But it is one explanation.
Yep.
And as we get into the story, you're going to see that one of these fishermen has a different explanation, which I'm more in line with.
I'm liking it.
Yeah. And like we said in our last episode when we were talking about doing this one, fishermen just don't lie.
No, they don't. No, they don't. That's why
when
Jesus chose
caught
fishermen.
The big one,
yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, they're telling you the truth.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into it, how was your week?
It's good. Just been busy, you know. It's always, you know, and when I say this, I'm not complaining, but it's always something, you know, there's just, like I was telling you there before we got on, wife had a meeting that she had to, you know, I have to cut out early so she can make her meeting.
Right.
And that got taken care of, but then now I'm getting called into court to testify and it's like, just one thing after the other.
It never ends.
Yeah.
It's the life of law enforcement.
Yeah. Balancing that with podcasting and kids. And
and then we were just trying to
house.
figure out how we're going to do the next episode because I'm going to be traveling again.
Yeah, we're trying to squeak it into a day.
Yeah, one day and then a day to edit. And so I'm heading to Arizona for a little bit, and then I'm going to San Francisco to go take in a Giants game.
Oh, man. So
and
jealous.
then off to Nashville. So it's like I have one day in between all this travel. And moving Grace out of Nashville after she spent her 3.5 years there. And guess she's going to possibly come home to Montana for a little while before she heads off to another location to start her career. But anyway, it's nothing but busy. And so trying to get these podcasts done is tough.
At least you get to go to a baseball game, though.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And they're playing the Yankees. So
nice.
That'll be a fun game.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the new Dungeness crab sandwich that they are serving.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that. Oh, man. You know it's going to be phenomenal, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't beat a good hot dog, right?
No.
I love ballpark hot dogs. But, man, you throw a Dungeness crab sandwich in there with some Gilroy garlic fries and a Ghirardelli sundae.
Oh, goodness.
I mean,
you know,
it's the lunch of champions.
It's
right
funny
there.
because San Francisco is such like a weird dynamic, right? Because you got the ballpark there, which, I mean, go Giants.
Yeah.
With the delicious food. You got the pier with all their food and stuff and all the sights you can see. But then you have to be in San Francisco for it.
Yeah.
And it's like just
transients are pooping on the sidewalk while you're eating. And
just the scourge of the earth.
Yeah. It's kind of a lawless city
at
this point. Everybody's pulling out. You know, the whole Westfield Mall is gone, basically.
Yeah.
every Walgreens and everybody's shutting down because people are just doing window smashes and grabbing stuff and taking off. And the poor police officers there, their hands are tied.
I couldn't imagine working there as a cop.
Yeah. And I always wanted to. When I worked down in LA for years and I wanted to be in San Francisco, I wanted to do the equestrian.
Yeah.
I wanted to work, like Golden Gate Park. And then I drove up there one day and I was going to apply. But back in the day, they had a residency requirement that said that if you don't live in the city limits of San Francisco, you could not be a police officer. Now they've extended that out to like 5 cities outside that area now.
Right, because they realize nobody wants to live in San Francisco anymore.
And you can't afford it.
Exactly.
Back then it was like $2,500 for a studio apartment,
And on a cop's salary.
You're making $1,100 a month.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But I always wanted to be an equestrian cop in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
And you'd go over there and I'd sit and talk to one of these guys up on his horse and he's got bird crap, on his leather coat. It's just a completely different environment. It's kind of like, it was almost like an East Coast vibe on the West Coast. They kind of reminded me of like New York City police officers.
Yeah.
Half of them had beards. And of course, back in the day, you couldn't.
Right.
Cops had to be clean cut and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I never did it. And I'm glad I didn't because that city just went to hell in a handbasket. But great food.
Great food. Phenomenal food. And the ballpark.
Beautiful views. And I like the weather. I like the cold and the fog.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now that we've bored you guys to death for the first 8 minutes of opening, let's move into this week's episode, which is the Mantis Man.
Yeah.
Now, this guy's bizarre. And he hasn't been seen a lot, but those that have seen him on different days, same basic area, they describe him pretty much the same. And the hardest part about it is when he's been described, he's almost like translucent.
Right.
So they can see through him, but at the same time, they can still see detail. So if you can wrap your head around that one, that this thing's disappearing on them in a matter of seconds from being spotted, but they can see it well enough that they can get a good description of it.
Which is even more creepy because it'd be terrifying enough to see that thing, right?
Yeah.
But then it disappears and now you're wondering, where is it?
And that's what one of them said is, I got to get out of here because even though I can't see it, I think it's still here. But they all describe it as being this 7 to 8 foot tall, dark brown or green colored humanoid with a triangular shaped head, large black eyes, and in some reports, large wings. It is bipedal with large grasshopper style legs, long, thin arms. And one report claimed that the mouth was either very small or there was no mouth, while another report described it as having large mandibles. In some descriptions, the skin is snake-like in appearance, while others have said that it's more of an exoskeletal body that becomes translucent. It's described as having the ability to cloak itself to match its background.
To me, that just explains those, for lack of a better term, discrepancies in how people see them.
Yep.
Depending on what quote-unquote stage it's cloaking itself in.
Right.
You might see it as a full thing, or you might see it as more of an apparition.
Right. And as one guy described it, he said that it was a beautiful sunny day, a little bit of like clouds in the sky, but mostly clear. And so when it was moving off into that, the background, it had to try and cloak itself into like a more difficult background. So it didn't have like trees and colors and things that it could do. It's this clear, beautiful day. And so he felt that it tried to cloak itself in stages. So he could like literally see that it was like changing
as it went
to go disappear.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to describe that.
Right.
But that's what the first fisherman said. Now, it's generally described as being non-aggressive, and it can vanish into like a thick fog or just disappear into the background. If you know anything about praying mantises. This thing sounds like a praying mantis.
Yeah.
Right? It's got the big grasshopper legs. It's got the long arms, the triangular shaped head, the great big bulbous black eyes, kind of on the sides of its head. One guy says that it 100% had wings. The other guy wasn't sure. He didn't see wings, but he's not saying it didn't have them. He just didn't notice wings. And then a praying mantis does exactly that. They can cloak themselves.
Yeah.
They can turn colors. I've seen them like white, green. They'll go browns as they're like in a tree or something. I used to love praying mantises. I've never seen one here in Montana.
Never.
California, though, we had them all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And they were always out there grabbing some bug and ripping it apart.
Yeah. It was cool to watch as a kid.
It was cool to watch as a kid. And they're very aggressive bugs.
Yeah.
And I think, does the female also kill the male like a black widow?
I believe so.
Yeah, she eats his head off or something.
Yeah. I think after mating too.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So it's a horrifying creature. Now imagine that being 8 feet tall. I mean, it's kind of like if you think about, I remember watching some movies and stuff on arachnids, and they were saying that if a spider was the size of a house cat, that spiders would take over the world.
Because of their speed and
their
power and all
agility,
that. Yeah.
Their power, their voracious appetite, that we'd all be hanging from some cocoon somewhere, wrapped up in a big spider web if they were that big. Well, the same would hold true for a praying mantis. If there were 8-foot praying mantises and the numbers of praying mantises that are on Earth, they would literally take over the human race. Now, I don't think they can exist being that large, and we'll talk about that later. But nonetheless, it's a frightening situation.
Oh, yeah.
And if you came across Mantis Man, I'd probably pass out. I think I would be more afraid of a Mantis Man than I would like a dog man or a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Just because if it is insect-like, it's going to eat you.
Yeah. And it could fly, and
it can. The thought of it is too much. The Mantis Man is thought to reside around Hackettstown and along the Musconetcong River in the state of New Jersey. I did see that other mantid-type beings have been seen all over the world.
Yeah.
But Mantis Man specifically is kind of only reported in this particular area of New Jersey. That doesn't mean that what other people have seen is not Mantis Man.
Right.
But if you were to look him up, he's going to be the cryptid of New Jersey, along with Jersey Devil and others.
Yeah. So
why do they pick on New Jersey so much?
I don't know.
There's a lot of cryptids there.
That place has got to be a hellhole. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, but they have good food too. So, I guess you go there and you risk Mothman or...
Because it's the same as San Francisco,
Exactly. So let's move into some of the sightings of Mantis Man. Now, there's really only 3 that I would call good sightings. 2 of them, of the fishermen, are very detailed. One's not so detailed. And then there's another one that we'll talk about that really has no detail whatsoever. The original sighting occurred in 2006.
Yeah.
It didn't have a specific month and day, but this guy's been interviewed several times by podcasters, and I think he was on Monsters in America and maybe another news outlet or something that had done an interview with him. But to me, this guy's story is quite credible. And then the next one that we'll get into, I think, is as well, because he admits to doing something that I don't think anybody would admit to in a public arena.
There's no way. There's no way.
So, if you want to cover the 2006 sighting.
Yeah, so Paul Jackson, his boss, went out to fish the Musconetcong River along Route 57, south of Hackettstown. And they parked at a Dairy Queen and entered the river at the back of the parking lot. Jack said he had never fished that river before, so he was unfamiliar with its dynamics. His boss went upstream, and he went downstream. He went into the river and began heading south toward a bend. Jack said the river bottom was gravelly, and he immediately noticed that the current was stronger than he anticipated. How many times have we been in that situation?
Been there multiple times. And in fact, reviewing this guy's story, I just relived my encounter when you and I went fishing in the Gallatin River and was up to my neck basically in water, and the current was pushing me along, and I was panic struck.
Yeah, it's humbling to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially if because there's some parts where you can get up to waist and you're just fine.
Yeah.
And then there's some parts where I wouldn't want to go above like halfway up my shin because of how fast it's moving.
Right. Yeah. You remember a long time ago when we did the Madison? We were out at the Madison River and I was like in quicksand.
Yes.
I had waded out and I was only going to go about knee deep. And then I sunk down into the silt of that river and I could not get my feet out. And I was yelling at you, hey, I need help.
Yeah. And it's horrifying too, because for those of you who've never fished, like with waders on, it slips on.
Yeah.
You slip them on and they go all the way over, kind of like overalls or coveralls, bibs, whatever you want to call them. And then you put a belt on to keep it tight. But if water rushes over, which is at, chest level, it washes over, your waders are going to fill with water.
Yeah. And then you all of a sudden you're weighing 400 pounds.
And you have boots on over the waders. So you would have to untie your boots and get those off and then unclip your belt, get that off along with your fishing vest if you have that.
All the while the river's blowing past you at 1,000 cubic feet per second.
So it's pretty sketchy.
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
is sketchy. I love fly fishing more than anything, but the older
I'll never stop.
Yeah, I'll die in a river someday probably.
Well, the other thing is you could be at just below knee deep or shin deep or whatever. And then if you're not careful with your steps, that could immediately turn to waist deep.
Oh yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, even as you're looking down on the water and you see like rocks or boulders, and they're all slippery, they're all moss covered.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Tripping and falling. But yeah, you can step into a sinkhole.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's one that I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I'll die for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So he saw a shoal, which is a sandbar or a small island, ahead that was covered in brush, and he said there was farmland along the embankments of the river. Some trees had been planted as windbreaks for the farmland, which is pretty standard in some areas. The current got stronger and stronger and began pushing him further downstream and toward the center of the river, where it was deeper. And Jack said he began to feel that he was getting into quite a predicament, and he was concerned that he would get in too deep and the water would go over his waders, just like we were talking about.
Right. Which is a terrifying feeling when you're out there, because the force of water is insane.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how strong you are or how good of a swimmer you are. If it's going to push you, you're getting pushed.
You're getting
There's
pushed.
Nothing around.
And when it's taking you out deeper and deeper and you're walking and you're sinking, it's a terrifying feeling.
How many things did you have to work in Kern County?
Oh, yeah.
In the Kern River for search and rescue?
Oh, yeah. And everybody dies.
Yep.
We'd have cases where somebody'd go out just to do photographs, and it'd be like not necessarily a wedding thing, but like that, where they were shooting pictures for prom or something, and somebody'd stand on a rock, slip, fall in, boom.
Current's taking you.
Gone.
Yep.
And at the time that I left, I know there was like 236 deaths in that river or something. Kern River was one of the most treacherous rivers in the world. And the undertow would suck people down in a matter of a second. And, witnesses would always say, well, they came up and I saw them, and then boom, they were gone.
Yep.
And then, of course, we do body recovery after that. But
and correct me if I'm wrong.
Rivers are terrifying.
Those divers on the rivers, they'll like put something on the top water to see. And if that, leaf or stick or whatever is faster than walking speed, they're not diving right there. Because more or less, right?
It's kind of, they do they throw the rope across the river. They have teams on both sides of the river. They'll take like a raft out and try and get over the particular area. But all the divers go on safety ropes and all that kind of stuff. So, but even that is dangerous because you can get wedged between rocks. And
trees and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, all the downed stuff that's in rivers, become really dangerous. People always want to grab that too. You'll see them being swept down river and they'll reach for a tree branch and grab onto stuff. And that's extremely dangerous to do that, because then the force, when you grab that, the force of the water usually takes you under. And then people are so panicked, they won't let go. So they just drown.
Yeah.
If you ever go in a river, you should know what you're doing.
Right.
Because the river is just horrifically dangerous.
Yes. So Jack said he began to pray, and that's when he noticed movement in his peripheral vision. He turned to look at what was moving, and he saw the creature stand up and walk away from him on the bank. He said the creature was nearly transparent, but he was still able to see it. And in approximately 3 long seconds, it had completely disappeared, but in stages, like it was cloaking itself to the skyline, just like you were mentioning earlier. He described it as a humanoid, about 7 to 8 feet tall, with a triangular-shaped head and large black eyes. He didn't notice a mouth, but if it had one, it was very small and at the end of a pointed face. He said it had skin similar to a snake, and it was colored in blacks, browns, and greens against a yellowish background. He said he felt it was reptilian-like, but also had the characteristics of an insect. The creature had nubs on its skull, with a ridge down the top and out to the side and a pronounced spine. He said he did not see any wings on it, but it had a hump on its back like insects that have wings, referring to its thorax area.
Yeah.
Jack said that a few years after his encounter, the movie District 9 came out. He said the prawn-like aliens in that movie had a super upper body and almost ridiculous narrow waist midriff, and then white thighs and big legs. He said when he watched the movie, he said, quote, "Oh my God, just put a mantis face on that and you pretty much have what I saw," end quote.
Yeah. Do you remember District 9?
I do remember District 9.
Yeah. That poor scientist starts turning into one, wants to help that guy go home and his little kid. And it was a good movie, a little boring.
Yeah, a little boring.
It took a while to get to the point. But I can only imagine, because I can picture that as well.
Right.
That movie.
Yeah.
And they had those big cricket-looking legs, or like a grasshopper, the way they bent and then throw a praying mantis head on top of it. And that's what this guy saw.
That's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, the good part is it turned and walked away.
Right.
But as I recall, even in his interview, he said that as this thing is walking away from him, it just kept looking at him over its shoulder. So it knew that it had been seen.
Yeah.
It was checking this guy out the whole time that it was, disappearing off into the skyline.
How even more terrifying is that for him that he thinks he's going to drown?
Yeah.
And while that's happening, he sees this.
Yeah.
Which you got to think, even though it's walking away, you're thinking, well, if I survive this, is that thing just going to snack on me?
Exactly. Yeah. The whole situation is more terrifying than the story sounds.
Yeah.
Because if you put yourself in this guy's position, not only, like you said, are you about to drown, but now you've got some alien-esque 8-foot tall praying mantis on the embankment just feet away from you, staring at you, and it disappears. So you don't even know where it is.
Right.
I mean, did it disappear and now it's coming up your backside, or is it gone? You wouldn't know.
No.
And so this guy, when he relates this story, it's almost as though he didn't really, I'm sure he was terrified at the time, but it's almost like he's very calm about it now.
Yeah.
And that's because he justified in his mind what it was.
Yeah.
So, as you go on here.
During an interview, he was asked if he thought it was an extraterrestrial. Jack said he felt that it was a demonic entity that manifested while he was praying about his situation in the river. He felt as though it had to get out of there because he was praying. He went on to say that cryptids appear to people and then disappear because they are all just manifestations of the same evil entity. He believes they are projections or shapeshifters of the supernatural or spiritual realm, and they are not from another planet, but they live amongst us.
Yeah, see, I'm in the same.
I'm with him.
I'm in the same river as Jack's. I don't 100% believe in extraterrestrial stuff. I can't explain anything. It's just my personal belief.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people would bring up really good stuff like, well, how do they abduct you? Or how did they arrive in spaceships if they didn't come from space, from another area? And I don't have the answers to any of it. I just don't believe that there's little green men from another planet that are smarter than us, that have perfected space travel, enter our atmosphere, come down here to study us. For some reason, I don't buy into that as much as I believe that it is demonic, spiritual, of some fashion. And then even in some cases where there's nothing happening, they're not here to hurt you or whatever. You almost have to think that there's a possibility that they could be heavenly.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it could be an angel. When angels come in the Bible, what's the first words out of their mouth?
Do not be afraid.
Don't be afraid, because they're scary looking. That's why they're
horrific.
We have paintings of these beautiful people in white robes with wings, and
the precious moment. Remember the precious moments, little
precious moments,
figure angels. Yeah,
exactly.
The big beautiful eyes,
and then you read the real description of it in the Bible, and it's like, holy Christ!
They got lions' heads
and swords, and then fiery eyes, and they're terrifying creatures.
Yeah.
And so when these things manifest and they don't hurt anything, what if, and I'm just throwing this out, what if that manted being or something was more angelic and was trying to help him not drown in the river?
Yeah.
Or what if it was what he thought it was, is because he was praying and was throwing out Jesus help me kind of thing, that this thing manifested itself and was repulsed by the fact that he was praying, and it left because it couldn't be in the presence of the Word of God.
Yeah.
That was his thought. It could go either way, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I guess if aliens existed, also could have been an alien. But I'm more on this guy's page. I think it's just demonic stuff. And then when he makes the comment in his interview that cryptids show themselves, he says they live amongst us. They're here with us, as were the fallen angels, right?
Yeah.
And when Satan was cast from heaven, they're here with us. They're not coming from another planet, and they're not going anywhere. They're not like E.T. go home. He wants to go home. There is no home. This is their home. And that's what this guy's thought is they live amongst us, and they're evil. And they're just a shape-shifting demon that shows itself to you and then disappears.
Yeah.
Well, how many hundreds of thousands of cases have people talked about, like Bigfoot became translucent or transparent, or went behind a tree and then it was gone?
Yeah.
Or
because the tree was smaller than it and it just disappeared as it went by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you think about what a lot of witnesses have said about these things, just like 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're gone. And that's why people jump to, has to be an extraterrestrial then. They entered the black hole, or they went into an interdimensional realm and all that kind of stuff. What if
that interdimensional realm is just the spiritual realm?
Here.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, it lives here, and when it disappears, it's going back to Hades or the spiritual world of whatever that is.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. You can read scripture all day long, and I know there's a heaven and a hell. But is there someplace else? Is there someplace that these things go? Is there, it's a lot of religions believe in paradise and purgatory and all these different holding places, between heaven and hell. And is that someplace that spirits dwell and then they manifest themselves here? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you could talk about it all day long, but the bottom line is I'm on Mr. Jack's page.
Same.
I think that it's not an alien. It's something of like a demonic force. But moving on to the next sighting, 2011, guy by the name of Joe Parenti and his brother, who I think wanted to be left
probably
unnamed, they went to the same river to fish, but they were a little further north near an area called Stevens Park. They went to an area where there were small islands in the middle of the river, and Joe said his brother went downstream and he went upstream. And just after throwing his line in the water, Joe felt that something was wrong, that he just got this weird sense about him that there was something not right. And then all of a sudden he hears this humming noise. And I don't know, he didn't really describe this, but I don't know if this humming noise is like in his head or if it's literally out and about,
Yeah.
like you'd hear a siren in the distance and he hears humming, or if it was more of an internal humming, because then he said that turns into this tingling sensation throughout his body. So while he's feeling all this, what I guess you could only describe as like energy, in his nervous system, he catches movement out of the corner of his eye. And when he turns to look, he sees this creature standing in the water eating something. He said it was at least 7 feet tall and it was covered in brown and black scales. So, which kind of matches the original.
Yeah.
Where the guy said he had snake-like skin. And this guy's saying it's more like scales. Well, snakes have scales.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think they're describing it pretty much the same.
Right.
He said it looked like an insect and it had large mandibles that were moving up and down, which would be similar to a real praying mantis.
Yeah, exactly.
And he says this thing is like staring at him and it cocks its head to the side, but it's still munching on something. He couldn't even see what it was, but might have caught a fish or something, in the water. And he thought that it was trying to speak to him, but he recalls that with those big mandibles chomping up and down, he said all he could think of was, how is this thing going to speak to me with those mandibles? Just kind of a weird thought. I'd be running.
Yeah.
Instead of wondering why it's couldn't talk to me because of its mandibles. I'd be thinking my head's going to be in those mandibles.
Yeah, exactly.
But he says that he was scared, but yet was kind of like frozen in place, staring at it, which the fight or flight or do nothing, right? I mean, that's what everybody does. There's a lot of people who just freeze. Some people are going to attack and some people are going to run like the wind. So he freezes there in the water. He's staring at this thing. And he says, then all of a sudden the creature like spreads these massive wings and like puffs up or expands its chest in what he thought was a display of power. He was like, it just like was staring at him and then
like it's peacocking.
Yeah, it's peacock. Yeah. And he said there was no doubt that it was just trying to show me it could take me out if it wanted to. It was showing me how strong and how powerful it was as compared to me. So Joe says he's absolutely terrified at this point, and he thought that the creature might kill him or eat him. And then he says, I felt as though I was paralyzed and completely unable to move in the water, and he felt that the creature was pulling information from his brain before he was even able to think of it, which is kind of weird because
I can't even imagine what that feels like.
It was like sucking memories, thoughts, all of his emotions. He said he could just feel it being drawn out of him before he even thought of what it was that was being extracted. Yeah. Which it's hard to describe that, but I kind of understand what he means. And he felt like this thing was literally not just reading his mind, but like totally extracting everything from him, like his childhood, everything, like this thing now knew everything about him.
Which, that's demonic.
Well, have you ever watched Philip Anthony Mitchell?
Oh, love that guy.
The pastor from Atlanta. Yeah. He tells his congregation all the time that if you get into tarot cards and Ouija boards and crystals and fortune tellers and all that kind of stuff, that it's all demonic, which we've covered that too. Because it is, biblically speaking, that's all demonic. But he literally talks about how when you go to a fortune teller, he said, don't you understand that, demons know your whole life from the day you were born to present. They know who you've dated. They know who you've been married to. They know how many kids you have. They know all this information, and they whisper that stuff into these psychics so that when they're telling you stuff about your life, you're buying into it. He said, that's all demonic.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that he's nuts, but I actually believe that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And most psychics are probably just scamming.
Absolutely.
And don't even have demons whispering that information to them. But I do believe that there are people so in tune with Satan, that worship Satan, that they do probably are empowered by evil to some degree, and they can know things. And in this particular case, I think that's kind of what you're dealing with here. Demons can probably extract. And when I say this, I mean, I don't want to sound crazy, you know, like I don't believe they're literally extracting information from him. But if you go to how many people that are abducted by aliens talk about how their thoughts and all their stuff was extracted from them.
All of them almost.
All of them. Yeah. It's like they read my mind. They knew everything about me and blah, blah, blah. And again, so we're back into the argument of, is it demonic or is it alien? And if this is a common thing amongst people, that their minds are being read and information is being extracted telepathically, what are we dealing with? I don't know, but I'm with Jax.
Yeah.
I think it's evil.
I agree.
Personally. But anyway, this poor Joe Parenti, he says, as he's standing there in the river and everything is being sucked out of his head, the creature then just kind of out of the blue releases its hold on him. And he was so drained from this event that he falls to his knees in the river. He says then a thick fog kind of filled the area, and then the creature disappears into that fog. See, that's kind of, I just don't believe an alien can bring on fog to disappear into, but whatever. And then Joe says he completely, and this is where it almost validates this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody would admit to this, but he says he completely lost control of his bodily functions and he pooped himself.
So if this happened to me and you and I are chatting, I would tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if I'd get in an interview on TV or with a reporter or whatever, knowing that anybody in the world can read it.
So 20 million people are going to listen to my story about how I crapped myself.
Yeah. I saw a big bug person fell down because it read my mind and drained my energy and took all my thoughts. And then I pooped my pants.
Yeah.
You sound like a nut.
Yeah, exactly.
If you just look at it at face value, right? You sound crazy.
Right.
Because the first part you could say that you just sound crazy because a lot of people would think that, right? You saw a bug person. Come on. Were you drinking that day? You know, do you do drugs?
Yeah.
You know, did you have any, or were you dehydrated and the heat was getting to you? Something, you know, they would come up with something. But then to add on to it that you crapped your pants, there's no way. No. This guy's credible.
It absolutely had to have happened. There's just no doubt. So Joe, after, pooping himself, Joe yelled for his brother. And when his brother arrived, he told him what had happened. Well, of course, his brother, is pretty much in disbelief of what occurred until he kind of realizes that Joe is like truly terrified and had soiled himself, you know? And so Joe's like, hey, I don't know if the thing is still here. I can't see it, which is what we discussed in the Jax thing, Yeah, it disappeared when it was walking away, but does that mean it's gone or did it just disappear and it's still there?
It's still watching us or it's getting closer.
And that's what this guy was terrified about. So he's telling his brother, hey, this thing could still be here. We got to go. We've got to leave. So they pack up their equipment and they immediately leave the area.
And I don't care what people say. You might be able to fool some strangers, let's say you're a good actor and you could play it up, but you're not going to fool your brother.
No, and there's no reason to.
Your brother's going to know if you're really scared or not, and then you pooped your pants too.
Yeah. And you've ruined the fishing day.
You've ruined it.
And no good fisherman would ever do that. I mean, I put ourselves in this position. You and I go out to the Yellowstone, and we're fly fishing, and then I see, whatever, who cares, dog man on the embankment, growling, snarling. If I didn't really see that, why would I want to yell to you and say, we got to go, we got to go? I want to fish.
I want to fish.
That's why we're out there.
And if I crap my pants unrelated to seeing something, I'm throwing those things away and getting back to fishing.
Yeah. Well, or you just dunk down into the river.
Call it good.
Send that little brown trout down.
Yeah, you're fine.
Down the river,
Just give it a minute to get away so you can get back to fishing.
Exactly. I mean, the river is kind of a natural bidet.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
you
fine.
Strip down, wash your butt out, and call it a day, and get back to fishing.
Unless we see a demon standing on the thing, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
And
either.
even then, I might not leave.
Probably not going to leave if I saw a dog.
I rebuke you in Jesus' name. Get out of here. I'm catching fish.
That's right. So we'll get right back to it. Fishermen don't lie.
They don't lie. It just
and you would never leave a good fishing spot.
No. I wouldn't leave a bad fishing spot.
Yeah, even if you pooped yourself. It doesn't matter. And so Joe and Paul are credible.
Yeah.
They saw what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's nothing else to it.
There's just nothing else to it.
Now, what it is, there's a lot to that.
You could go for days and speculate what they actually saw. But the fact is, if they left because they were terrified and they're avid fishermen, then they're credible.
Yep.
Period. So 2014 is the next one. And this one, not so great, but nonetheless, it still verifies Paul and Joe's claims.
Yeah.
So you want to cover that one?
Yeah. So 2014, supposedly there's a police report. This is something we couldn't verify.
Could not verify it.
But a man known only as Mr. Strickler claimed to have seen Mantis Man while driving home. The report said his statement was as follows, quote, I saw something strange a few weeks ago on the Musconetcong River near my home here in Hackettstown, New Jersey. I was driving home from the drugstore on Newburgh Road. As I drove near the bridge over the river, I noticed to my left something, I thought a fisherman, standing in the river just off the south bank. I slowed the car and looked closer. It wasn't a person, and it was transparent-like with a weird shape. It moved slowly towards the bank and into the trees. I drove further so I could see it coming out of the trees. That's the last I saw of it. It was tall, 8 foot or so, and had long, thin arms hanging off of it. The color was a pale brown, but I could see through it. The head was small compared to the body. It was sunny that day, so I thought it may be a glare from the water. But after I thought back, I realized I wasn't seeing a mirage or glare. I checked the internet and didn't see anything about it. I mentioned it to a coworker in my office at lunch on Wednesday. He gave me the strangest look. I thought, uh-oh, he thinks I'm nuts. We went back to his computer and he brought up the Hackettstown forum with the Mantis Man witness, end quote.
There you go. So that to me confirms Paul and Joe's story.
Yeah.
Because none of these men knew each other. They're years apart. They're in the same basic area, and they all describe exactly the same thing.
And this guy had no idea what it was.
No idea what it was.
So it's not like he heard the story
right,
and then claimed he saw it.
Right.
Because then you could...
And was afraid that when he told somebody, they thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why would you tell somebody if you thought you're just going to be written off as a nut?
Exactly.
It's because you saw it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Exactly.
And then I looked into the Hackettstown forum, and there actually is one. It's a Facebook thing, but this account was not on there because this goes back too far, 2014.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was going to sit and search, 12 years worth of posts. And I tried to do a search on it. It didn't hit it. I tried to search for the police report, but I don't even know what agency he would have reported it to, if it was, Hackettstown police, or if it was a sheriff, or if it was a state trooper.
Exactly.
And there was really no way to look it up. So trying to use just Google searching, for a police report by Mr. Strickler in Hackettstown, New Jersey, even the AI thing that crops up now in Google said there are no confirmed police reports of this incident. So I don't know that it even actually had a police report, but it also doesn't mean there wasn't one.
Right.
Just because you can't find stuff on the internet doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So we can't confirm the 2014 case, but the bottom line is, if it happened, then you have a third person who witnessed the exact same thing, exact same description, same area, which in my book means
that we got to go to Hackettstown.
We got to go to Hackettstown. And, we got to go fishing.
Yeah.
Is what we got to do.
Which I'm okay with.
Because I think that's what, and then maybe if we get in trouble, we'll throw out a little prayer, see if this thing comes around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's confirmed. I believe that something's out there that looks like a big praying mantis. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's crazy. But I think that these people are credible.
Yeah.
So trying to find other sightings of it. There are sightings of mantid type people all over the world, but in this specific area, I was trying to find, any further confirmation that this thing existed. I know you did the same. You didn't come up with anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's just nothing out there. But there is a Reddit post, which I actually found, and I wasn't going to throw the guy's name out there. If you want to look, go on Mantis Man in Reddit, and you'll see that this guy posted that he saw a green, human-sized, thin insectoid as a child in New Jersey. Doesn't get into any detail. He's just confirming that he saw the same thing when he was a little kid.
Yeah.
And did it happen? I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, especially with little kids. I think little kids are great witnesses, but I think they can also exaggerate things too much.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to use this one as a confirmation that it occurred. I think the other 3 adult witnesses are good enough for me to believe that something was out there.
Exactly, yeah.
So then I started thinking about, what are these mantid beings? Because you sent me a thing that cropped up on your phone.
Literally, what was it, that night or the next day?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was that night.
Well, we were talking about this Mantis Man, and then, of course, our phones do listen to us and try and advertise things and all that kind of crap. But you sent me that thing on these aliens, these mantid alien beings that are cropping up all over the world.
Yeah.
So I listened to that, and I thought that was kind of bizarre that came out of the blue.
Yeah.
While we're talking about doing this particular podcast. So looking into this mantis stuff, I did find that there were a lot of different cultural connections to these mantid beings. And most of the accounts of Mantis Man or mantid beings primarily come from alien abductions.
Yeah.
Which, again, we talked about prior to going on the air, that if aliens can abduct people, but there aren't really aliens and they're demonic forces, can demonic beings abduct people?
Yeah. Is it physical or is it mental?
Yeah. And we talked about that for about an hour before we even went on the air.
Yeah.
And it's too hard to come up with an answer.
Because you'll get a lot of people who are, just let's say they park in their car and then boom, they claim they've been abducted. 20 minutes goes by them and they come back to in their car, or something similar to that,
right.
Whether it's in their bedroom, wherever. Was that just, were they abducted, but it was only, lack of a better term, spiritually or mentally?
Yeah.
Or were they physically abducted and then just taken back to the same spot? I don't know. I can't say.
All that loss of time thing sounds more mental than actually being taken someplace.
But I can't say.
But
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been abducted.
Thankfully.
Exactly. Or maybe I have.
Maybe. Who knows?
One such archaeological finding is a Mantis Man petroglyph that was actually discovered in Iran.
I've seen these.
Yeah. And
I mean, not in person, but.
Right. Yeah. And this thing dates back between 4 and 40,000 years. Now, that's quite a spread.
Yeah.
But my understanding on that is that in Iran, they don't allow the carbon dating stuff. I don't know why, and I don't even understand what I was reading about that, but they have something in place where they can't do this carbon dating. So they don't really know. So they're guesstimating, but they think at least 4,000 years ago, this thing was embedded into the wall of a cave. And researchers described it as, quote, squatting Mantis Man, end quote, with features that suggest that it's representing a praying mantis entity in a defensive posture. And I've seen the picture of it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you can come to the conclusion 100% that it even is a praying mantis thing.
Yeah.
But that's what they say it is.
This looks like a demon to me, but whatever.
And so the question is, why would somebody 4,000 years ago inscribe into a stone a humanoid praying mantis? I mean, unless they existed, why would you draw that?
Yeah.
Unless they were just a terrible artist.
Which is possible.
Which is also possible. But we've discussed this before. Petroglyphs and hieroglyphs and all the kind of things that we see that either show alien forms, giants,
Yep.
humanoid beings with cat heads, dog heads, things of that nature. All of this stuff had to have existed at some point on Earth.
And all of that stuff technically is biblical.
And I'm going to go there every single time.
Yeah.
They did exist.
Yep.
The question is, do they still exist? And my answer would have to be yes.
Yeah.
And that's why people see these unexplainable things that just disappear on them. Going a little further into this, ancient Egyptian text also contained potential reference to mantis beings. The Egyptian Book of the Dead mentions mantis-like beings serving as guides for souls into the underworld. The African tribes, particularly the Bushmen of southern Africa, they have creation myths featuring mantis beings. And according to their traditions, their people were born from a mantis entity. The Asmats of New Guinea used mantis symbolism in connection with headhunting rituals. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mantises usually rip the heads off of their prey. The word mantis itself comes from the Greek word mantikos, which means prophet or seer, reflecting ancient reverence for those kinds of insects. And throughout history, cultures worldwide have associated mantis insects with divine qualities, prediction, and other worldly wisdom. So when you look at all these different cultural beliefs about a praying mantis being almost like a deity or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird, where some say, oh, they guide you into the spiritual world, and others are
They guide you right to hell
guide you
for
right,
worshiping them.
Exactly. And so that leads us to explanations. What could a mantis man possibly be? Well, there's 3 dominant theories for the existence of that. The first being that it's just an undiscovered species. The main issue with that theory is that if you look into it a little bit, our atmosphere can't sustain a praying mantis creature of this size, because a 7-foot praying mantis, they say, scientifically, cannot exist in our atmosphere due to low oxygen levels and physical limitations, including suffocation, structural collapse, metabolic failure, because our 21% oxygen level is insufficient for their little respiratory system to support such a large mass. Their exoskeleton would collapse under its own weight due to atmospheric pressures, and some sources indicate that it could be an aquatic or amphibian-like creature that only resembles a praying mantis, which is why it can exist in our atmosphere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy it.
No.
I don't think there's an insect that big. I think we would have discovered it by now.
Yeah.
So,
And I also don't think it could disappear.
Right.
Completely.
Yeah. So if
just,
it's a true insect
right.
or amphibian, it's not going to.
Not saying it can't camouflage. Look at chameleons. I know they can.
Chameleons and praying mantises,
Yeah.
they do. They camouflage. What they would call cloaking themselves.
Yeah.
But I don't think it could just like flat out disappear.
Yeah.
But you want to cover the next ones?
Yeah. Second theory is that Mantis Man is the result of a failed government experiment.
There you go.
Could have been created from a mutation during a breeding program, and those responsible could not control it, leading to its escape or release out on the river.
Yeah, I'm not buying that one.
No.
So what would be the point of making crossbreeding a praying mantis and a human or something?
Right.
First off, that can't happen. I'm sorry, but...
Well, and then somehow they crossbred it and gave it these supernatural cloaking features as well.
Yeah. I'm not buying
And
that.
it only stays by that river for some reason. It doesn't go...
Yeah. Seeking prey elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that one's bunk.
And third, and the correct one, is that it's a supernatural and or spiritual entity of unknown origin. Could be evil or demonic, or it could be heavenly.
Yeah. And that's it.
I think that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Whether it's evil, demonic, heavenly, extraterrestrial, it's one of those. I don't think it's...
No. It's not a real praying mantis. It's not an amphibian. It's not a valid creature on Earth that can disappear.
I'm not saying the government doesn't try to do weird experiments like that. Yeah. I'm sure they do.
See, I would buy into like a dog man.
Yeah.
A Bigfoot, maybe they found a Gigantus Pithecus somewhere, took DNA and crossed it with a chimp.
Trying to make super soldiers or something.
Bigfoot. Yeah. For that. I'll buy those.
I don't think they're successful.
I don't believe it, but I can buy into the fact that our government could, in fact, try and do something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But that's a stretch to think that they would try and create a giant praying mantis. Yeah. I just don't buy that one.
And the fourth and final one is, we kind of just touched on, is that Mantis Man is an alien, which would explain the odd feeling witnesses experienced and its apparent camouflage abilities.
Yeah.
Which could also be explained on the supernatural side as well.
The spiritual side of it, yeah. And so I thought, well, if a lot of people are going to believe that it's an alien, I put a bunch of crap in here about aliens and stuff. I don't know. Do you even want to get into aliens? Or, I mean, we're pretty much at our
I think
time,
we're good on that.
Yeah, a lot of people, they've reported grays, reptilians. I listed all the different aliens that they've seen, but one of them was an insectoid, which is just an alien that resembles a large insect. And doing some research on it, I just found that everybody believes that the mantid alien is like the top one.
Yeah.
So if you're ever abducted and you got the grays or the Nordics or the reptilian people, sticking the needle through your eye and sucking your brain out, if you look around the room, you'll see a mantid that's in charge.
Yeah.
And that's what all these people are saying. I've even gone so far as to list the names of people that claim they were abducted, and all of them that have gone like under hypnosis and whatnot, where people are trying to determine if they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
They all seem to like lose the time, but they all agree that while they were being looked at and probed, there was always this giant praying mantis in the background giving instructions to the grays on how to go about doing it. So I guess if you're going to believe that the Mantis Man is an alien, then he would be one of the ones that's in charge of all the aliens. So what he's doing out there at the river, eating fish or eating bugs and manifesting himself in front of you and then disappearing. I don't know what that has to do with like any of this alien stuff. But if you do believe in aliens, everybody has come to the conclusion that the mantid is like in charge.
It's the general.
He's the big guy.
Troops, yeah. And to back it up, I don't know why, but I have to go on record and say, I think hypnosis is just bogus.
Yeah, I do too.
People who get hypnotized, you're liars.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's bogus. I just don't believe it at all.
I know that I could not be hypnotized because I don't believe it, so I'm not going to fall for it.
Yeah. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm ignorant and it's because I don't believe it that it wouldn't work. Yeah. But
and then getting into it's not even in scripture that I'm aware of, but my personal belief is if you surrender your brain and your thought process to somebody and allow them to control it through hypnosis, like if it's real, right? So you swing a pendulum in front of me a few times, you tell me my eyes are getting droopy, I fall asleep, and now you can control me?
Yeah.
There's movies on it, right?
Right.
Charles Bronson was in the one where they make the telephone call to him and then he becomes a hitman,
There was that one
kills
too,
people.
With I actually really enjoyed it. It was a horror movie with Kevin Bacon. And he was remember? It was like Stir of Echoes or something like that. That was pretty cool. He was getting hypnotized and he was in the movie theater and he could see the figure, and every time he got closer, and then he found the girl at the end had been murdered.
That scene where he's sitting on the couch and turns and that dead girl is sitting next to us to get that jump scare. Yeah, it was a good movie.
So it makes for a good movie.
It makes for a good movie.
But I just don't buy it.
If you relinquish your mind to somebody and that they can tell you what to do,
I mean, you're
on
just
a keyword or whatnot, are you not opening up your mind to evil.
To demonic possession. That's what it is.
That's what I think too.
And these people who think that they can do that, when I say possessed, I don't think that it's like Reagan from The Exorcist where their head's spinning around and they're, crawling on the wall, but are they under some sort of possession as well?
Yeah.
Whether that little quote unquote devil sitting on their shoulder, whispering in their ear what to do and how to control them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm not saying that their intentions are bad. Maybe they do believe that they can help people.
I just know I would never do it.
Nah, not happening.
And years ago, remember when they used to do it for smoking and eating disorders and all that stuff, and I know people that have gone and done it and it didn't work.
Right.
It didn't stop them from doing anything. And so I think it's all mind over matter. And if you're one of those people that can be easily manipulated, then I think it might work for you because it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
And that can be powerful to some people, whereas if you told me to stop eating Mr. Burrito or something, that isn't going to work.
No, I love that place. I'm going to keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to eat.
Yeah.
So I don't buy into the hypnosis thing, but I do believe it opens your mind to evil.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we should be doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
But anyway, I think that's all we've got on Mantis Man. There's not a ton of information on it, but at least the two guys in the river, I think, are very credible.
Yeah.
I think they saw it. I think that Paul Jacks is correct in that it manifested an evil thing because he was praying about it.
Mm-hmm.
And why it showed itself to Joe, I don't know, but it forced poop right out of him.
Yeah, it did.
And so this thing is obviously scary. Something that I don't want to come across, or maybe I do.
Maybe.
I don't know. I definitely want to go fishing.
Yeah.
And so if it manifests itself on the embankment, I'm going to try not to poop myself. I'll try and get a picture of it before it disappears, and we'll post that.
Which, another quick thing too, especially if you're in waders, because I'm sure, like, let's say it did happen and people will be like, why didn't you get a picture?
Oh, yeah. You can't ever get your camera out.
Yeah. Go out. And I mean, how many times has like an owl landed on a branch or you see a fox or a beaver or whatever, and you're like, let me get to my phone, and you're trying to get through the pouches and all that stuff, and it's gone.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you do finally get it out, it's moving. You got an iPhone and it's far away, so you don't have like a zoom,
Right.
You're not shooting it on a Canon camera or something.
No, remember when we were out that one time and the beavers were attacking us?
Yeah.
We jumped in the water, we're
Waist
swimming
deep
towards
water.
us. Yeah. We had to scramble out of there. I couldn't.
That was horrifying enough. It was just a beaver.
Do you remember I tried to get a picture of it?
Yeah.
And by the time I got my camera out, all I got was that little V shape in the water that, it was moving
towards us to kill us.
So these poor people that try and get pictures. But if you're trying to shoot a picture of a 7-foot tall praying mantis that's disappearing, you're not going to get it.
No.
So these guys got to see something that a lot of people would be too terrified to see, and a lot of people would love to be able to witness a cryptid so that they could. And the one guy said, I think it was Joe, he said that he's always been a skeptic. He's never believed what anybody's ever said.
Yes.
And he's always chalked somebody up as being a nut. And he said, until you see it yourself.
Which makes him more credible to me.
Yes. And then he said, now my mind is open to the fact that there's things out there that are unexplainable.
Exactly.
So there it is. I mean, in a nutshell.
Yep.
The guy was somebody who referred to everybody as crazy, and now he saw something himself, and he knows he's not crazy. And so it's proof in the pudding.
Yes.
That things exist beyond what our knowledge can handle.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
That's all we got on Mantis Man. Moving into our next episode, we are going to be talking about, and here we go again, more little people.
Yeah. Couldn't help it.
We couldn't help it because the Menehune people of Hawaii have been spotted numerous times.
Yeah.
And to me, it corroborates the fact that the little people of the Pryors and leprechauns and all these different little people around the world exist.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and we're going to talk about another set of them. And that's it.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. So until next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show and you want to help us out, then go ahead and give us a follow, leave us a review. And don't forget to turn on the automatic download button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And as always, if you've had any experiences, stories, thoughts, comments, or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to cryptidfanatic@gmail.com. Let us know if you'd like to be on the show or just have your story featured during one of our episodes.